zooming in here from our view overhead from Skyfox, you can see a lot of the debris in the area. Again, this initially came out as a report of some sort of explosion. And as Sal mentioned, we don't know what type of building this was, whether it's commercial or residential. We know this is an area that has both a lot of homes, apartment buildings, and some commercial buildings as well. In taking that last look that we saw from a different vantage point of the building where the smoke was coming from, it looked like some sort of commercial building. But now we're showing you some of the ambulances on the scene. There are reports of possible injuries. There's also some PG&E trucks there as well. Anytime you have a major fire, an event like this, PG&E is called out to make sure there's no problems with the gas lines. Again, we initially found out about this as a report of an explosion. We don't have any further details about what that may have involved and what that includes, but we can tell you that there looks like there's roads all around this at 868 Llewellyn, which is where the report of this initially came from. The roads in that area are shut down because of this enormous emergency response. As you heard Sal mention, there's about a half a dozen large ladder trucks with hoses and water pouring on what's left of this building. It's hard to make out what this was.
That looks completely destroyed.
It looks like a pretty serious explosion.
If there wasn't the explosion, it would have been right there where they're pouring all the water in, and it does look completely destroyed. Again, this is reported as a residential. It was reported as a residential structure fire, and but it's hard to tell what that building was, and what's left of it is just a pile of rubble. Allie, you mentioned that there were possible injuries, although we haven't confirmed that. I do see we saw the Falk paramedic unit down there, and I also saw Alameda County Sheriff's, because again, this is unincorporated Alameda County, or it's Hayward, unincorporated Hayward. People consider it Hayward, but really is Cherryland and Ashland. It's divided by interstate or Highway 238 that runs right near it. And as we push in now, some of the smoke is subsiding. It does look like that those are definitely residential units that we're looking at. And
the fire department did say in their initial report and alert about this, there are some possible injuries. That ambulance we showed you live just a few seconds ago didn't appear to be rushing anywhere. So we're not sure if the people who may have been injured in this have been taken away already. Again, this initial report happened about an hour ago, so just about 9:30 is what you said.
9:38 response, okay. Yeah. And when they do dispatch for something like this, they always send medic units, maybe even just to be on standby. Perhaps a firefighter might need them. They carry oxygen. They also have the heavy rescue units, and you have the firefighters using their ventilators. See that big master stream coming from the tower ladder? I mean, that is unusual to have for a house fire. So this just gives you the scope of how big this fire was. You have several master streams coming from outside. They were obviously fighting the fire defensively. They weren't inside. You see all those streams there? So they had to stay back. Just gives you an idea of how hot and how this fire was burning. It does look like, well, it was reported as a possible explosion, and just looking at these pictures, it looks like it could have been.
And it's, again, looking at the pictures and the view here, this is an area that has, it's a mix, residential homes. They also have some apartment buildings. There's also some commercial buildings there as well. So we have no information, we should say, yet about what type of building this explosion happened in, whether it was a home or some sort of commercial building. But and it's very hard to make out in that debris, and along with all the smoke, the white smoke that's still coming from the scene there. We do want to mention that not only Skyfox over the scene, but the public affairs manager for Alameda County Fire Department is headed to the scene. There's a staging area that's been set up for the media, so obviously a lot of people in this neighborhood and in this part of the Bay Area want to know what happened, and we're hoping to get some more updates and information. We also have a crew of our own that we're sending out to the scene as well to try and gather on the ground as this evolving emergency happens. This is breaking news. You're looking at a live picture overhead from Skyfox. Alameda County Fire responding to a possible explosion. The report came in about an hour ago about an explosion on the 800th block of Llewellyn. This is, as Sal mentioned, in the Ashland Cherryland unincorporated part of Hayward, and that's why you have Alameda County responding. Taking a look at the area around this, you can see it's pretty residential. You can also see there's a lot of ambulances that have parked in the area, and some law enforcement officers that have blocked off some of the streets leading to this scene in order to keep the roadways clear for those emergency responders. There are some initial reports from firefighters that there may be some injuries, but again, at this stage, we are just waiting to get some more details and information about A, what happened, B, where it happened, what type of building this was, whether it was a home or something else, and C, who it may be injured here. We are looking at an ambulance there. It looked like maybe there was someone going into it, but again, from this vantage point overhead, it's not very clear.
There were several, 24 pieces of equipment are on the scene, and look at the firefighters in a line there. Those are newer firefighters getting to the scene of this, again, possible explosion. Came in at 9:38, first reported to Alameda County Fire, 868 East Llewellyn Boulevard in unincorporated Hayward, and this is very close to Interstate 238. It's been, fire time is almost an hour now. So many fire crews responded that nearby Hayward and San Leandro fire departments are now handling runs in that area, so mutual aid has been called from the surrounding cities just to keep everyone safe. You know, you wonder, if all the firefighters are there, what happens if, you know, pray tell, someone I know has a heart attack? Well, that's being handled by other departments in Alameda County. So when something like this happens, all the fire departments in Alameda County stand at the ready to move around and cover the rest of the county. And you can see how big this response is, I should say. And now you see some pictures of medic units and the stretchers coming out. So, and those are utility crews. So obviously still a very active scene. As we mentioned, we do have a crew on the way, but right now Skyfox is providing these live pictures of what is going on at the scene, Allie.
And I want to point out what we may be seeing here in this zoomed in picture from Skyfox. It looks like maybe someone in the area who survived what happened. They put, we saw some of the responders wrapping that person in a blanket, and you see them kind of walking, a couple of people actually walking over to the stretchers there to maybe seek some medical treatment. Again, fire department says there are possible injuries, they believe, but we don't have all the details on that, so we don't know how many people may have been involved. Again, at this point, we don't even know what kind of building reportedly exploded about an hour ago, whether it was a residence, a multi-unit apartment building, or some sort of commercial building. In this part of Hayward, on Llewellyn near 238, there's a mix of all types of structures here. So we are still working to gather that information. But again, a live look at what appears as maybe some people who survived this fire or explosion that happened about an hour ago. Looks like they had a blanket wrapped around them, and then they were being taken to a local hospital. As we mentioned, we have a crew now that just arrived on the scene. Let's go over to Jana Katsuyama to tell us what you know so far. Jana.
Well, we're on the ground on East Llewellyn, and let me step out of the way so you can see you've seen from the air, but this is the ground scene where we have multiple blocks that have been blocked off along East Llewellyn because they have so many emergency crews in here. They're struggling right now just to try and see if they can get everybody in and out. Now, just a couple minutes ago, there were two other ambulances that pulled up, and we just saw one person being put onto a stretcher. It looks like a man who was taken into one of the ambulances. He was not moving. I couldn't tell kind of his condition, but they are trying to get ambulances in and out off of Mission. We do understand that the Alameda County Fire Department is going to be sending a PIO here so that we can talk to them and get some more details. But if you take a look over there, you can see we are being told that it appears to be a residence. And I was just speaking to somebody who lives across the street from the residence and said that they saw the smoke starting to come up from the house on the other side. We have people here from the fire department, from the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, from the CHP, all here trying to make sure that they keep people away from this area because they are trying to make sure that wherever that source of this fire happened, that is contained, because this is a dense residential area. You probably can see from the chopper video that there are homes all around this area at a very close space. So they really want to make sure that this is contained and that this doesn't spread any further. Right now, just getting here was a challenge because there are so many streets that have been closed off around the area, and people are trying to get in any way they can. So if you are in this area, East Llewellyn, just make sure that that you avoid this so that the emergency crews can get through. That is what we're seeing right now. We're hoping in a few minutes to try and connect with the sheriff's office so that they can give us more details about what the plan is so far. But really right now, it's a pretty tense situation where they're trying to just make sure they get a handle on this for the public safety.
Jana, you're standing, I know how it is, you're standing probably behind the ropes there, but do you see any people who are just watching, or neighborhood people just kind of out there looking at what's happening, and maybe they've said anything to you? I know you just got there, so you may have not had a chance to talk to any of the people who live in that neighborhood.
There are people who are standing around, and as I mentioned, I spoke just now to somebody who is across the street. Right now, they're kind of keeping people at a distance, so we're hoping to, as we, are here for the next couple minutes, be able to connect with them and get some of them and what they saw in the minutes, even before the law enforcement and before the first fire trucks came here. But again, this is a situation which is changing. We are seeing more ambulances coming into the area, so that is always, a concern that there might have been some people in there. We did, as I mentioned, when we first got here, see one person who was taken into an ambulance.
Did Jana, the neighbor you spoke with across the street, report or tell you they heard an explosion initially, or did they say anything about how this may have started?
They saw an explosion from across the street, and we're working to try and see if there's some camera footage from that we can get back to you. But at this point, we're just trying to kind of gather some of the facts here, because this is something that's in the middle of the day. A lot of people who were in their homes, and now are out in the streets. Some of them just in their flip-flops and pajamas. Other people who were, trying to get started with their day, and now they're facing this.
Now, do you know, is this a home? Did the resident or the neighbor you talked to say this was their home, another neighbor's home across the street, or was it an apartment building? Because from the aerial view, it looks like a large structure.
At this point, we're still trying to gather that information, Ali. They said that it was a home. I don't know if it's anybody that they knew inside there. But again, we just got to the scene, so we're trying to collect that.
Okay. Jana Katsuyama on the ground there. Thank you for that update and some of that really important information. We are, again, continue once this picture from Skyfox comes back. It's a little spotty at this point because we've had Skyfox over the scene of this reported explosion and fire. Got some more information from Jana, who's on the ground, who talked to a neighbor who said that they did, in fact, see and hear an explosion before this all happened, and that they believe it's a residence, not a commercial building, although it's hard to tell from the aerial view. It's
hard to tell. When we pushed in earlier, and again, if you're just joining us, this is breaking news of a home explosion reported by witnesses, but at 838 East Llewellyn Boulevard, near 238 in the Cherryland, Ashland area of Oakland. You see the live pictures now. There's black smoke rising, and that means there's new area of fire. So it was white smoke, alley. Now we have some black smoke, so perhaps they've uncovered some area that is now burning again, and that's why it's so important to have the firefighters there. They have these big water streams going onto the fire, and definitely an area where they're going to keep people away. You see Jana's camera on the ground a couple of blocks away, and you have a perimeter there where they're obviously not allowing people to get closer.
Yeah, and you could see, even though we don't see any flames, there's still an active fire going on somewhere in that property where this all happened, because now, as you mentioned, Sal, we're kind of seeing some new black smoke come up as firefighters continue to pour water on this fire. At one point, looking from Skyfox, I counted as many as 6 streams of water all aimed at this home. We don't know what exactly happened. Obviously, this happened just a little more than an hour ago. We don't know what triggered this reported explosion in this residential neighborhood.
You mentioned something. So I went on to Google and I did a little street view, and I saw that I don't see any commercial buildings. I see 1- and 2-story buildings there, apartment houses. And I'm sorry, I was just interrupted there, but I didn't see any commercial structures, but I did see 2-story homes. And the reason I say that, Allie, is because when you're fighting a fire at a home, you don't usually see this type of, response. You have, look at that big tower ladder.
Look again in the picture on the right, Sal. I think this is a neighborhood that is adjacent to some commercial buildings, because that building on the right, that's not a home. And that's what we were looking at earlier. Now, it's hard to tell what what area the explosion initially happened because of the smoke. It's kind of blocking some of our view.
It was reported at a certain address, and it looks like whatever this is that they're on the roof of,
it may have spread there. I mean, that's clearly not a house. That's a commercial building that we're looking at, because there's some garage trailer.
I can't really tell what that is.
Points. It's hard to tell because of all the smoke, but a very active scene. Dozens of firefighters on the roof of some sort of structure there. But again, it's right next to the home, right next to it. The building right next to it does look like a home with a lawn in the backyard. So I think this is a kind of a mixed-use, mixed-zone neighborhood.
They did have,
This is unincorporated.
This is unincorporated Hayward, but it's Alameda County, and people who live in the area consider it Hayward. If the people who live here tell people they live in Hayward, that's how common it is, but they live in the Cherryland section or in the Ashland section of Hayward, but it technically is not Hayward. It's Alameda County Fire, Alameda County Sheriff that patrol this area. And again, if you're just joining us, about an hour ago, Alameda County Fire got a report of a residential structure fire. And then later on, we heard that this was a possible explosion in the 800 block of East Llewellyn Boulevard, very close to Highway 238, and clearly visible from Interstate 880 and 238.
And again, the report of it being an explosion also confirmed by a neighbor that Arjana Katsuyama spoke to when she arrived on the scene. This is a neighbor who lived across the street from this home. The neighbor says it was a home where this happened. They heard and saw the explosion. And a short time ago, from a different vantage point, we did see Skyfox showing some people who appeared to maybe have survived this or been nearby when this happened, because they were being given some blankets by emergency responders and kind of laying down on a stretcher and being taken away in ambulances.
We don't know if this was some sort of a gas problem, but we did see PG&E crews, a lot of PG&E crews there on the scene. And usually when there is a fire, PG&E shows up to turn their utilities off, so we don't know exactly what's going on.
All right. Well, we are going to continue our coverage of this breaking news in Hayward. We're going to go now to Andre and James Torres, who continue our coverage of this breaking news situation, an explosion in a residential neighborhood of Hayward, unincorporated Hayward. We'll send it over to them.
Allie, Sal, thank you so much for your continuing coverage. We continue to follow the story as it continues to break right now. You're looking at live pictures from the 800 block of Llewellyn in Hayward, where there was some sort of explosion about 9:38 this morning. You could see the impressive response on the scene right now. We understand, and we did see in some chopper video just a short time ago, that there appeared to be some construction equipment in the area. This appears to be a residential neighborhood in at least 3 homes. Early reports now damaged in this massive explosion. Firefighters dousing it with water right now to keep any flames from starting up again.
Now, this is the view from the ground. We saw the view from up from the sky too. Skyfox showing us some of those pictures earlier this morning, and you could see debris scattered just about everywhere. Walls were torn apart. It looked like walls that were supposed to be put together were stacked on top of each other. All sorts of debris scattered with just a bunch of what looked like burned elements of buildings. I'm taking a look at some of our social media. We're streaming this on a number of our accounts as well, and on a Facebook feed, I read that someone said that it sounded like an earthquake nearby. Once they took a look outside, they saw some of the smoke outside. They realized it was not at all an earthquake, and now they're seeing our report showing you what you're seeing right here. This explosion, possible explosion in this neighborhood. You can see the smoke is still in the air as firefighters are still dousing what looks like some hot spots. We can give you 2 different point of views here. One from the ground here, where you see firefighters and the fire engine still in place, that giant white plume of smoke that is filling the air. Sheriff's office deputies are on the scene as well. And then on the right side of your screen, you see from the aerial here with Skyfox showing again, that same response and what looks like what's left over of this possible explosion. We are working with the Alameda County Fire Department, who we know is on the scene right now. We're working to get updates from them to learn how this all happened, how this all started, and what we're doing next.
But the details are still coming in, as you can see right here, as we try to gather the latest information about what is happening here. But this is a residential neighborhood. There's several homes on the corner of this area of East Llewellyn, the 800 block, and this is Morrill Street. This is off of Interstate 238 and just off of 8080 as well. That big interchange, that section right there. If you know the area, if you're heading down 580 and 238, it's in that general area. There's a Jack in the Box in the corner as well, but this is a fully residential area. And when we were looking at the Skyfox pictures from a little bit earlier, and I think you might be able to see that picture from above from Skyfox, I believe this was a little bit earlier, there was wood, pieces of wood shattered everywhere. I mean, if there was a house or houses standing there, it was completely obliterated in this massive explosion. Right now, I've been looking to see if we see any PG&E crews on the scene at the moment to see if this perhaps was a gas line explosion. I have not seen that yet, but of course,
we see the folks there with the helmets on.
Now we see them PG&E. They're standing back while the work continues to douse the flames from above. Several fire engines dousing the area where this happened with flames at the moment. Skyfox showing the video there, and at least 2 or 3 fire engines, if I can make that out right now, is dousing the flames in that area. White smoke just billowing up from this particular area. This is not far. When you get off of 238, there's a Jack in the Box in the corner there. It's kind of got this interesting exit.
There's an in and out on the exit.
Jack in the Box. You're right. Jack in the Box on the close to the exit.
Jack in the Box on the roadway. You know, we have been reaching out to the Alameda County Fire Department. We know they're on the scene here first, on the scene, and they're the ones who are handling all those fire engines that are on there. The firefighters that are there all belong to the county. They've confirmed to us that there is some sort of possible explosion that they are responding to. They have a number of engines there, at least 2 trucks. That's what you see with the ladders that is dousing the scene. We know that they've been there for a little bit more than about an hour now at this point. We also, we've not actually got this confirmed from the fire department, but we have seen what looked like people with injuries taken onto stretchers, what looked like possible burns as well, removed
including some of the firefighters or the people, first responders to the scene as well.
Yes. So we've seen them taken from the scene onto a stretcher, loaded onto ambulances. We don't know how many people have been removed from the scene just yet. Those are some of the questions that we will be asking the fire department once we get a chance to speak to them and ask them some of their preliminary details. And
James, the reason why I'm slightly familiar with this area, and I just got a little concerned, I have a friend that lives just around the corner from here, so I've been to this area many times. This is not this friend. It's a couple of blocks away, but it's right in that area. That's how I'm so familiar with it. We do have Mark Nouveau on the phone, former FEMA coordinator, just to talk a little bit about how something like this can impact the surrounding community. Mark, if you're on and if you can hear us, hopefully you can. Are you watching these pictures here? This is just incredible to witness.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Andre. Yeah, what you're seeing is a devastation, no question about it. And the difficult part here is it's in a residential area and there's a great explosion. So that throws up some alarms in itself because you typically would not see a fire of that magnitude. Add to it that we've got firefighters being transported to the hospital by all appearances. This is a serious incident and they're not quite sure what they're dealing with yet because it's not designated strictly commercial or residential. It's a combination of both.
Mark, how do you approach this scene? I mean, we see it from the aerial view. It looks like walls have been blown away from each other. We see the debris everywhere. I imagine when these first responders get here, they don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know the toxicity that could be around. They don't know the dangers that still lie ahead of them. So how do these first responders come up and start doing their job?
Yeah, that's where it presents the problems because you're anticipating one set of circumstances and another one starts to unfold. So what they're going to do is take great precautions but be aggressive. So they've called in additional resources. The area that we're talking about is actually in the city, but it's located in Alameda County. So the primary fire department that responds to the Alameda County Fire Department with mutual aid assistance from other departments, principally Hayward Fire Department. So they're going to bring in a number of resources to be able to handle it. They're going to bring in a secondary firefighting team to go in and rescue firefighters if they're injured. They're having to approach this with a tremendous amount of caution and danger.
As we're looking at these live pictures from Skyfox, again, one thing that strikes me is that there are vehicles parked where these buildings were, and the debris sitting on top of those vehicles right now. So you have to wonder if people were inside at the time of this explosion when it happened. And by the way, I see at least 3 fire engines now trying to douse the flames there. But things are. Let's listen to this neighbor live from the scene.
Every window in my house is blown open, cracks in the ceilings. It's destroyed.
And you got out safely?
We got out safely.
How did you get through all of that?
Well, they just keep moving us around. I helped my next door neighbor. There was a couple of them, mother, daughter, that were in shock, and we moved them. Got them safely till the fire department came.
Were they inside at the time?
They were inside. There was 3 of them inside.
3 of them.
And they all got out, but they all got taken by ambulance.
Wow. And so is that a house? Were they living there for very long?
Oh, we've all been, this is an old neighborhood. We've all been here for years.
Yes. Okay. And what was the situation in terms of were they doing any construction?
Oh, they've been they've been doing these roads for months, but just within the last couple days, week, they've been really digging this out, getting ready to lay, hopefully the cement, the last of it. And we heard the trucks about 7:30 this morning. It was like normal. Okay, they're out there working. And so my husband said he saw the fire go down and then the explosion. So he thought it was they hit a gas line. Yeah.
Okay.
They've hit a gas line.
Okay. And you said it's been going on for months. Hold on just a second, and then let me just see.
And just so you know, we all fought this. We have been
You've been opposed to this
all along. We've had.
Why is that?
Because they took part of our house, our yard. They took about this much of our property without any of our permissions. They just started this construction because they got a grant, I guess, to fix this road, and that's what they've been doing. This has been going on for 6 months or more.
6 months of construction right in front of your house. And Deborah, what time did they start this morning again?
We heard the trucks about 7:30 this morning.
7:30 this morning. And did you smell any gas when you were coming out?
I didn't. But I breathed in enough of my ceiling crud to...
And when you were looking out around the neighborhood, did you see any other homes, any of your other neighbors' homes that were impacted by this?
No, just the one next door to us. In fact, one of these kids has a really good video of it blowing up. He happened to be walking, and or his mom got it, I don't know. They were outside and they got it. I mean, they got it.
And how were the mother and her daughter when they were coming out? Were you able to talk to them?
Oh yeah, but they were just in shock and face bloodied, and all ceiling and material all on their heads. So yeah,
I know
they were talking. They were talking.
And we heard that there might have been another man who was in the vicinity. Did you see a man there?
Yeah, I saw a man. I didn't see him, but I saw him when they had him on the ground taking care of him. People walk by this street all the time.
And how are you feeling right now? You've lived in this house for a while then?
Oh, over 30 years.
30 years, okay. So you know this neighborhood and...
Yes, we know it well. But I'm more worried. I have 4 indoor cats, and I don't know where they're at. They've never been outside. I know an animal's an animal, but it's still... My kids are grown and gone, and so I need to get in there and get meds. That's my main concern.
You have medication in there?
Yes, my husband and I both, but I have some that I'm due in about an hour. So.
And when you said your windows shattered out of your house, did you feel an impact from the...
Oh, yeah, my husband did. Just blew him. Yeah. He didn't fall. He was amazed he didn't fall. But yeah.
It was that powerful.
Oh, it was like not a sonic boom. I don't know. Just like a bomb landed on top of you. It was huge. It was huge.
Deborah, we're going to come back to you in just a second. I'm glad that you got out safe, glad that you and your husband are both safe, and I hope you're able to get back into your house for the medication.
Yeah, I think they'll let us in once the fire is completely gone. Yeah. I'm like the only neighbor that's, I guess, was still in bed this morning.
Well, we're seeing other people who are in their pajamas, you know, in flip-flops and things like that. So glad that you got out safely, glad that your husband was okay. And I don't know if you can hear us back to the studio, but, you know, that impact, the feeling of that force, as she mentioned, the windows being shattered throughout the house, and also this construction project that neighbors are telling me has been ongoing. And you do see across the street, you know, this trench where almost an entire lane has been dug up. It goes for quite a long way across the block, and you can see that it goes down fairly deep, a couple feet in some areas. So this is the area where, as you just heard that neighbor Deborah say, they started work early this morning, just after 7 o'clock, and they had been working on this for a while. She mentioned that it was a project that she and some of the other neighbors had been fighting, they had been opposed to, but you can see construction all the way down where the fire started up the block on Llewellyn. And so we are seeing some people who are with the construction companies and the crews. We have not yet been able to talk to them. You also see that they have, you know, medics staged with a portable unit just in case there are any other people. But again, this happened in the morning. You know, you heard her say that she was in her bathrobe, and other people were still kind of in their homes. And so I think that is one of the things that people are being very cautious about, because they're still trying to have a full accounting of who might have been not only in the house, but also in the surrounding area. And you can also see over here how close the homes are to the public sidewalk and to the area where people would be passing by. So this is a situation where there are a lot of neighbors who were at home who saw this. We do have some video that we're trying to get into the station from one of the neighbors who was across the street, whose security camera captured the moment when there was this explosion, and you can see the basically it coming up through the roof of this house. And as you just heard from Deborah, one of the neighbors next door, there was a mother and a child who came out who had some of the roofing material still on their heads, and had a face that, you know, showed some blood, that they had been impacted by this what neighbors are telling us is an explosion. So that was from the next door neighbor who lived next door. Again, she is out here right now in her bathrobe, hoping to be able to get back into her house to get medication, but really glad that she and her husband are safe, especially since they directly felt the impact of that explosion.
Jana, stay with us for just a moment here. You said you mentioned you talking to that neighbor. She lived right next door to that property. She mentioned her husband being knocked over from the explosion. She said that these roads have been worked on for a while now. You also mentioned, too, that you'd seen other people who had run out onto the street wearing clothes that very much indicated that they had a rush out. Exactly how many people are you seeing out there? How many people have you been able to talk to who all live nearby who are giving you a similar story?
I'm actually just hearing from another person who was saying that there were a number of the construction crew workers that you can see over there across the street who are, I guess, were in the vicinity at the time. There are just, you know, dozens of people who are around this neighborhood. I'm probably seeing at least 50 just on this side of Llewellyn, and then of course there's the other side of where all of these emergency crews are, where there are, it seems, more neighbors who are on the far side, which is downwind of the smoke that you're seeing coming out of this structure. So that smoke still coming up. We're not seeing the water being put on it directly, but, you know, this is a situation where if that smoke is still coming up in such quantity, they are, you know, very concerned that they want to make sure that that fire is out right now.